Hello students, welcome back to the biology class. So in the last class we continued the chapter 17, that is breathing and the exchange of gases, and we completed the topic of transport of two gases, the respiratory gases oxygen as well as the carbon dioxide. We learned that the oxygen is picked up from the atmosphere and then it is taken up into the alveolar sac where blood it moves into blood because of the partial pressure is more towards say the alveolar sac, and then it reaches the tissues for aerobic respiration, and in return carbon dioxide is produced at the level of tissues which is picked up by the blood, and then blood passes it on to the alveolar capillaries, and from there, because the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is more compared to the alveolar air, so it goes out goes out and then we breathe it out into the atmosphere. We learned that in this whole process blood plays an important role of transport of gases. So we learned in the last class that how oxygen and how carbon dioxides are carried or transported through blood. So we learned that 97% of the oxygen is transported as oxyhemoglobin, which can be written either as the HbO2. Otherwise, the reality is that each hemoglobin molecule carries there are four Fe2 plus present, so we can represent it as Hb4 also. So otherwise, the formula of oxyhemoglobin can also be written as Hb4O8. And we learned that this equation, or you can say the formation of oxyhemoglobin and then the dissociation of oxyhemoglobin to liberate oxygen is a reversible process. The presence of more oxygen, presence of less carbon dioxide, presence of low temperature and presence of 7.4 pH, the normal pH, motivates the formation of oxyhemoglobin, and such are the situations in the lungs. That's why in lungs oxyhemoglobin formation always takes place. And we learned that opposite happens whenever the amount of oxygen goes down, temperature increases, or the amount of carbon dioxide increases, or the amount of H plus concentration increases, and that always happen at the tissue level because of the aerobic respiration going on at the tissue level. These conditions are created. We learned about the oxyhemoglobin dissociation curve, that this curve always moves towards the left side when the conditions are better for oxyhemoglobin formation, and it shifts towards the right side when the conditions are not conducive. We learned in the last class regarding the values also that 1 gram of hemoglobin carries 1.34 milliliter of oxygen. So from this we can conclude that a 100 ml of blood which generally carries 15 gram hemoglobin will carry 20 milliliter of oxygen. But when we check the amount of oxygen left in the venous blood, it means deoxygenated blood, it still carries 14.4 ml of oxygen. That means 100 ml of blood only gives 5 ml of oxygen to the body tissues, and this may increase in the case of exercises. The presence of carbon dioxide and the H plus makes the oxyhemoglobin dissociates to release oxygen, and this is called as the Bohr's effect. And the leftover 3% of the oxygen is transported in the form of plasma. We also covered the topic of transport of carbon dioxide in the last class, that 7% of carbon dioxide is carried in dissolved form in plasma, just like oxygen is carried 3%, that is the physical solution. And in the same manner we have 70% of carbon dioxide transported in plasma with the help of plasma and with the help of RBCs in the form of chemical solution, or you can better say salts. So there is the concept of chloride shift or Hamburger phenomenon, in which the chloride goes into the RBC. Remember that this whole process is going inside the RBC. RBCs carry carbonic anhydrase enzyme. This enzyme is responsible for formation of carbonic acid and then dissociation into protons and bicarbonates. Now these bicarbonates move out of the RBC into the plasma, and chloride goes into the RBC, and then reaction starts taking place, and this movement is called as chloride shift and Hamburger phenomenon. Now this chloride reacts easily inside the RBC with K+. It can even this K+ can even react with the bicarbonates present in the RBC to form KHCO3, and whatever HCO3 minus or bicarbonate ions move out of the RBC into plasma, they start reacting with Na+. So sodium bicarbonate and potassium bicarbonate are the salts in the form of which 70% of carbon dioxide is carried by plasma and RBC. KHCO3 formation takes place inside the RBCs, and NaHCO3 takes place outside, it means in the plasma. And 23% of the carbon dioxide is carried with the help of hemoglobin in the bound manner, and the compound formed is called as carbaminohemoglobin. And we learned that 100 ml of blood carries only 4 ml of carbon dioxide. And just like we have the Bohr's effect in the case of oxygen, and the effect is because of the H plus and carbon dioxide, in the same manner, oxygen's increasing concentration promotes the release of carbon dioxide from these compounds. So when these compounds liberate the carbon dioxide, this effect is called as Haldane's effect. So we finished all this topic in the last class, and today we will start with the new topic.